With this video tutorial, I am going to show you two different kinds of easy fabric tulips that you can make. The first one we're going to do is super duper duper easy. The second one we're going to do is super duper easy, or maybe super easy, or maybe just easy. The first one requires absolutely no sewing, just you need a hot glue gun. The second one just has minor small bits of sewing that I'll show you. It's really easy. So welcome everyone, all my Facebook friends and all my YouTube friends. I'm so excited to show you. Okay, the first style of flowers that we will be making are these. Look how precious that is. These are just, well, I'll show you the whole thing in just a second. And then the second style that we will be making are these. They're both just pennies to make, seriously, like maybe 30 cents a piece. And they're both pretty quick. So I'm excited to show you everything that I have learned about tulips. And let me tell you a few tulip facts while I'm getting my desk ready to do this one first. Okay, so apparently there are over 150 different varieties of tulips. They're part of the lily family of flowers, and you know I love flowers. They only bloom, this is the bummer thing about tulips, they only bloom for 3 to 7 days in the spring. The largest commercial producer of tulips is the Netherlands, but did you know that they originated in Asia? So those are interesting. The different colors of tulips have different, they symbolize different things. Excuse me. Red tulips symbolize true love. White tulips are something you can give someone if you have a need to apologize or say you're sorry, or just say that you're sorry about something happening in that person's life. Purple tulips are symbols for loyalty. And pink, which is what we're making today, pink tulips are symbolic for affection, caring, good wishes. They're great to send to family and friends just to show that you care. And one last thing I wanted to add, when we lived in Seattle, which was well over, it was like 23, 24 years ago, Seattle, that area of Washington, just north of that in the Skagit Valley, they have the most amazing tulip festival, which we used to go to every year. Just crazy beautiful. So those are the facts I wanted to tell you about tulips, and let's jump right in to make some of these. All right, so these are going to take shish kebab spears. They can be whatever length you want. They're going to take some fabric, and all the fabrics that I'm using today have come from Walmart. They're these little fat quarters, Waverly brand, and they have all different prints that coordinate with each other, and I believe these are around $1 a piece. So they're super affordable. And then we're going to use your basic fluff and stuff, you know, polyfill kind of stuff, hot glue, and then whatever embellishment you want. And on this one, just for fun, I used a little bit of this pink tulle. You can find this everywhere. I believe mine came from Walmart. And there's two different colors. I used the lighter pink for this one. You could use, you know, any kind of green ribbon. You could use any kind of buttons. So there's lots of different ways to embellish this. So I'm going to show you how to make a flower, and then I'm going to show you how to make the stem. And let's hop right in. Okay, before I came live today, I made myself a pattern with the little piece of cardboard that comes in those Waverly fat quarters. there's nothing specific. It's just my idea of what a tulip looks like. And then I put it on some fabric, a piece of the fabric, and I traced it and cut it out. And I'm using this as my pattern for my tulips. Okay, let me think. What color do we want to do? Let's make just a plain, and with some of this new fabric here. This pink, it'll go with the other pinks that I have going on with this style of flowers. And for the other style, you are going to want to iron so that your fabric is flat and so that you can crease it. So I don't know if you can see, I have my iron in the background. Oh my goodness, and I forgot to mention, look at all those different flowers that I have behind me. I just got a few out just for fun, just to show you some of the ones that we've made in the past. These are all videos that I've made that are available here. If you're watching this on Facebook, here at DIY or if you're watching this on YouTube, they're available under my playlist of DIY flowers over on YouTube. These we made a little while ago, and we called them lollipop flowers because they have this little swirl. And then these were just the little coordinating twirly-doos that went with them. These were some of the first flowers that I made on Facebook and on YouTube. And this is just a pulled string burlap flower. Here is a sheet music and champagne cork flower. You can see videos on how to make all of these. These are some recent flowers that we did with coffee filters. And these are cherry blossoms, and these are just, I don't know what they are, but they're pretty, I think. And then this was a whole bunch of more recent coffee filter flowers that we made. These were some hydrangeas coffee filter flowers that we made. These were fun. This was my 4th of July stuff using red and blue ticking from Walmart. Those were super cute. Oh gosh. And I have 100 other kinds of flowers. Oh, and also I've made quite a few different necklaces. So let me just show you real quick in case you want to go look at any of those videos. This was one that I made with some denim and lace, and it was super cute. And here are a couple other ones that I called these rolled rosettes. And they were fun to make. Okay, so besides those, I've done a zillion others. All right, I'm gonna open my fabric and I'm just gonna do a real quick press right here and I'm just misting it with a little bit of distilled water. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I do want my flower to not have a big wrinkle in the middle of it. Okay, so I am going to fold my fabric so that I can cut out the front and the back at the same time. Because why would I want to cut this out twice? I wouldn't. I'm all about finding ways to do things easier. Okay, and I'm just gonna put a couple of pins on here to hold this down. You can even cut out multiple layers at the same time. Okay. Hey, by the way, if you are watching on Facebook, these comments right here might possibly be in your way, and you can swipe those out of the way, either up or down, depending on your device, and they will disappear. So just in case you didn't know that, they are, if you're on Facebook, they're swipeable. Okay, so this is my pattern, and I'm just going to put one more little pin on here. And in making my samples, I tell you what, I learned a couple things. So I'm going to show you what I learned. I think the things not to do sometimes are as valuable as the things that you should do. So I'm going to tell you and show you an example of what not to do. In just a second, let me just get this cut out. And it does not have to be precise. Once you get it stuffed, you know, you'll never see that each one isn't exactly the same shape. But you do want your two pieces that you're going to be attaching to each other to be the same. That is important. Okay. And this right here that came from inside of that little Waverly fat quarter, this is what I used to make my pattern. So I believe in using what you can, what you have handy whenever possible. And you know what? Here's a tip. If I had some spray starch here at my house, I would have starched all of my fabric before I made any of these flowers, because I feel like they would be crisper and easier to do. So that's something to think about. If you have spray starch, when you're doing your ironing, you might want to just add a little bit. So today we're going to be working off of these cake boards from Walmart. They don't say Wilton anymore, so I'm not sure what brand they are. Maybe they're Celebrate, but they're about $1 a piece. And they come in a package of 4, and you can get different sizes. And I just put 2 of mine that I've been using this week in the recycle bin because they were really cruddy, really cruddy. So that's the nice thing about using these cake boards, is that they protect your crafting area, and then when they get gunky and done, you can just recycle them. Okay. So, and I think everybody can see just fine right here. We're making this one. Just put it right there. And my glue gun is getting a little bit on the yucky side, so I'm going to use a dryer sheet. Did you know that trick? Just to kind of wipe away some of the glue strings. And the tip I wanted to show you was, I think it was this one actually. When I made this one, I'll come close. When I made this one, I was not careful to put my glue close to the edges. And because this is a smaller flower, that meant that I really couldn't stuff these points at all. So when I made my next one, I don't know if you'll be able to see a difference. I was very careful with this one to go clear out to the edges, and I was able to stuff, can you see that? All of the points. I don't know if that matters or not, but I mean, if you can just go a little slower with your gluing and pay attention to exactly where you are with it, instead of just whipping it on there and not thinking about it, then you'll be able to put more fluff and stuff inside of your flower. Okay, so I am going to put my glue thin and right out to the edge of that little point right there. And I'm using my Surebonder low temperature hot glue gun, mini size. It's nothing fancy, but you are likely to get some glue on your fingers doing this project. And so I would recommend that you use a low temperature hot glue gun for it. I don't ever hardly use my hot temperature hot glue gun anymore. I don't really see the point of it. And getting a glue burn hurts, so it really hurts. So once I get my glue on, I'm just pushing my 2 pieces together. And you might have some glue that squeezes out, but we'll clean that up when we're all done gluing the top and part of the sides. Don't forget and glue the whole thing, or else you won't be able to put anything inside of it to stuff it. Okay, so let's trim up this glue that's poking out here. And I used these couple of different kinds of pink fabric that I had from my Walmart. But you know, you can use absolutely any kind of fabric, any color, whatever appeals to you. Yeah, there's lots of people hopping on here on Facebook and lots of stars. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna continue gluing, but I'm not gonna go all the way down because I wanna leave myself a good amount of space to push my stuffing in. Okay, so here's our two pieces, and I've left about this big of a hole in the bottom. It's, you know, not just the very, very bottom, but it's a little bit up on the sides. And I'm just gonna grab some polyfill from my drawer here. And this one, you don't have to stuff it super full, but the next one I'm gonna show you, the fuller, the better. That is what I learned in doing this craft. Okay, I'm gonna grab one of my shish kebab spears. It could be whatever size, whatever length you want. This is just what I had, so I'm using what I have, and I'm pushing my stuffing into this first little point. Can you see that it's, yes, you can see right there. I almost always do everything in a real sort of neutral color scheme, like beige, and I use a ton of painter's drop cloth and a lot of canvas duck cloth. But I decided for these little tulips that I wanted them to be bright, although I could imagine them being super cute, just made out of the canvas duck fabric that you can also get at Walmart and pretty much everywhere else. Okay, I'm gonna put just a teeny bit more in here, and then we're gonna say that is good. And we're gonna glue our little skewer on there, and then I'm gonna show you how I put green on my skewer. And I'm putting the point down so that I can poke it in whatever I want, but that's up to you how you want to do that. I just stuck my skewer in the middle of all my fluff. I'm going to try to tuck my fluff back up in here while I'm gluing. And I'm just pinching it closed on the edges. And I have glue on my hands. If this was hot glue, I would be saying, oh, ouch. Okay, let's trim just the little bits of glue that kind of got smushed out because I was going as close to the edge as possible. All right, now the next thing is I'm using this green fabric that came out of one of the jelly rolls that you can get at Walmart. It has a variety of different colors, but I love this. So I'm gonna just cut a thin, long strip, and we're gonna glue it essentially on our shish kebab spear. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight or anything. I'm guessing that's probably long enough. So this is what I have. And I'm going to start at the very top and put a little bit of glue up here and lay my fabric on it. And then put a little bit of glue on the back also. Okay, so this is how we're getting started. And now I'm just going to twirl and twist it down, and every so often I'm going to stop, whoops, and put a teeny bit of glue on my fabric as I continue to twirl it down. Okay, we're almost to the very bottom, so let's put a little more glue there. And then I'm going to cut. All right, and there we go. I personally like how this piece of green fabric gets sort of frayed a little bit on the outside of it when you twirl it down on your shish kebab spear. I think that is nice. So here's the different ones that I've made. And that was a really nice fabric that I only had, I don't know if I even have, and this is how much I have left of that. Walmart. Love this little polka dot, this solid pink, this polka dot, and we could embellish these however we want. One thing we could do is make some leaves for them, and tulips have those long leaves that go almost all the way up to the top of their body. I don't know what that's called, but I have some of this green ribbony stuff that is Offray brand. I do not remember where I got it. It kind of reminds me of a burlap, almost, a little bit. And I'm just gonna cut a piece of it. And then their leaves have kind of a rounded point to it. So I'm just gonna fold it in half and do something like that. And let's add it to this one. Oh, I cut it too long, way too long. All right, so this is the leaf, and I'm just gonna run a band of glue from about halfway down to the bottom, and I'm gonna lay my shish kebab skewer into that. And this is what you're going to get. And then I'm just going to twist the bottom and glue it over itself. And we could go up a little bit higher so this will stay up here. What would we do without hot glue? Oh my word. And there you go. Easy peasy. Then you could add a little, let's do one quick little piece of our tulle. And then I'll show you the next flower. So what do you guys think about these? These are absolutely no sewing, no brain, no nothing. I mean, they could be absolutely whatever you want, which is great. So if you haven't done any stuffed fabric flowers yet, this might be a good one to start with. Okay, I am going to cut this tulle much, much shorter because that is way too long. And we could put a button on it. Let's see, do I have anything out that's gonna work? I don't have a ton of pink buttons. That is my problem. That are gonna match. Let's just do this very, very, very light pink button and I'll show you up close. I'm gonna put a little blob of hot glue on the front part of my tulle. And here we go. So what do you guys think? Pretty darn cute, huh? back in here where they came from, and let's talk about the next style. Oh, and I might tell you about what I've got going on right here because this is different. I am just putting them in a little jar. It probably had, I don't remember what it had in it. Let's see, the lid is still here. Well, it had this cute little lemony lid, but I mean, it could have been a jar of pickles or who knows what. And these are just split peas. They're great to use to have your flowers stand up straight. All right, so that was our first flower. And the next one, let me find my pattern, it's here somewhere. Okay, I've fiddled around with the sizes for this one. And this is what seems to work the best. It's gonna be 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches. If you decide to go that you want bigger, then just make sure that you do the same amount on the width as the height, okay? And so let's make one. And I'm just looking at what I've got going already. Let's make one out of the same plain pink fabric. Okay, so I am just going to lay it here. And I haven't seen any comments because I'm too far away. What kind of peas? They're split peas. They're dry split peas. You can get them in, this is so funny because I have decorated with split peas forever. They're a great green. I love that kind of green. You can get them at your grocery store in the dried beans section. So wherever they have the dried beans is where you're going to find your split peas. And this, again, it doesn't have to be exactly 4.5 by 6.5. This is just what I have done. Okay, so this was the pattern, 4.5 by 6.5, and this is what I have. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to iron it really well. And I think you guys can kind of see me here off to the side. I just misted it with some distilled water. If I had starch, then I would be using starch, spray starch. Okay, and this is what you get. And then on one side, you're going to fold it down between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, and you're going to spray it with water and iron that fold down. So let me do it, and then I'll show you up close. Let's get rid of this string here. Okay, so this is our piece now, and I've just ironed a fold of it down somewhere between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, roughly. Okay, and then we're going to fold it so that right side is to right side. In other words, the front is on the inside. And we're going to glue this seam right here. Okay, so then you're going to have a tube, basically, and you're going to want to tuck just a little dot of glue on the spot that you folded over and ironed over, so that will stay, because eventually we're going to be turning it right side out, and that will help. And then the other thing you're going to do, there are tons of different tutorials out there for making these kind of tulips, and almost all of them use a sewing machine. But we're not going to use a sewing machine. We're using hot glue and then a needle and thread just for a little bit. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take where our hot glue is, come up here, and we're going to essentially fold that over and glue this down so it will be flat. that I just sort of figured out myself as I was experimenting that they looked better, I thought, when that was glued down flat. Okay, so here's our tube with the folded over part, and then this is where we attached it. In here is the right side, but this is, you know, just one color, so maybe I should have used a different one, but that's okay. You get the point. Okay, and then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take a needle and some thread. I'm just using this ivory color, and we're gonna do one of those little running stitches at the end of this, not the part that we folded over. And I'm gonna start by where I did my, where I glued the two sides together. This is really the only sewing that you're gonna, well, there's one more little sewing piece that's super easy. Can you guys see that? So you're just going in and out and in and out, you know, not super duper close. And that is what's gonna allow you to cinch your flower up at the bottom. And I have made a ton of these in the last 24 hours, so I've pretty much figured out all the pros and cons and all the shortcuts and all that business. I had wanted to share this idea with you yesterday, but I was having technology issues, which I'm still sort of having. And I'm hoping I can get those completely resolved. So I was super excited to be able to come live today. All right, and I'm gonna go back to where I started. So you can see the running stitch goes all the way around, and I came back and I'm ending right about where I started. And then you're just gonna pull it to cinch it all up like this. And there's lots of different things that you could use for your base for these. I opted to use these wood dowels that I got at Dollar Tree. They're a little bit shorter. I do, in retrospect, wish that they were a little bit longer. These say that they're 6 inches long. But they were 15 for $1, so each one costs about, I don't know, 7 or 8 cents. Okay, so I'm going to, and again, we're still wrong side out, I'm gonna put my little piece of wood dowel into the end, and I'm gonna pull my thread as tight as I can, and then I'm gonna wind it. And this is just what I landed on. This was not in any of the tutorials that I saw. 1, 2, 3 times around it tight, and then I'm going to do a little stitch with a knot. And I'm going to do that a couple times. Okay, good. This was very handy to have my needle book that we made here at DiyDreaming the other week. So I could easily put my hands on my needle, and that is a tutorial that I have both here on Facebook and both over at YouTube if you're interested. Okay, this is what you're gonna get, and it looks messy, and it is. Looks like you're making a Cinderella skirt or something. All right, I am going to take my glue gun and put a little blob of glue around the top of the dowel, right here. And then I'm just gonna pull this up and smush it into the glue. That's just gonna make double, triple sure that my little post doesn't pull out. All right. think I'm good. Now is the fun part. And get all this junk out of the way. All right, so how do we turn this into this? We're just going to turn it right side out. And it's going to look like this, and you're going to say, it's wonky, because they usually do kind of end up sort of wonky. But when you stuff it super full, and I showed you how to do to make these little points on the top, you won't notice if it's wonky. Plus, tulips are always wonky. After you have them for about 20 minutes, they start to do this. So this is maybe a more accurate rendition of a real tulip. Okay, I just have a bunch of polyfill. We'll probably need even more than this. For this flower, you want to stuff them as full as possible. So what do you guys think so far? Do you like this tutorial? Are you inclined to make this flower? I hope you'll stay with me to the next step, because I did figure out some things about making the top that made a difference, and I wanna share that with you. You know, sometimes you discover the right way to do something by doing it wrong a few times first. I do that all the time. And so I want to just make sure that I tell you that part. Okay, just when you get to the point where you think, I can't possibly stuff it anymore, you can push it down to the bottom. And this is what it's going to look like. And I would say that probably needs just a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's good. Alrighty. Now, where did I put my needle? I put it back in my needle book. And it still has enough string or thread on it that I can just use this. Great. Okay, so I'm gonna tie a knot at the end. I don't know how you do that, but this is how I grew up sewing with my mom and my grandma doing it. And then we're gonna start, and you can see, let me come up close so you can see. See, this is the inside where we folded this over. Can you see that? It's not glued down or sewed down or anything. Okay, we're gonna start by taking our needle from inside to the out, just a little ways down from where your seam is. And then what I did wrong for almost all of these flowers, and I couldn't figure it out, is I went from here to the other side going over. But what you need to do is loop it back through this layer and then go directly to the opposite side. So if you pinch it, you'll be able to figure that out. And even if you do it wrong, they still look just fine. But, okay, so I'm coming out this side. I went in there and I'm coming out this side. And then instead of going back through that way, I'm gonna go back through right here, right by where I did my last stitch. And I'm gonna try to bring my needle up and over the lump of polyfill. And then we're gonna start cinching it tight, and this is what you're going to start to get, the start of your tulip. But you're going to have to go back and forth a few times in order to get it to stay, because it's going to want to pull apart. Okay. So this is what we have. We just created this little, we joined the two sides, And there's you can see where the seam is. So I just did it just barely off to the side. Okay, then we need to go back in from the front to the inside and bring our needle up and out. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to explain. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the other side, to the exact other side, and come out. And then I'm going to go back in again. And I'm going to go to the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in and back over to the other side. And now we're going to start to cinch it up. And you're going to see how the little tulip folds up on the top. That's exactly what makes it do it. So I'm going to go back and forth a few times here. Okay, and then I'm just going to do a small little knot and cut off my thread. And here we go. Here is our little tulip. Was that easy or what? You could make, and like I said, okay, this little dowel is maybe 7 or 8 cents. The whole thing, the whole fat quarter of fabric was $1. So this amount of it is probably 10 cents, if even. I don't know how much the fluff, the polyfill is, but pennies. I don't know how much the cost of the hot glue is, but pennies. And now we're gonna do this part. So, I mean, these are super, super, super affordable. Okay, and I'm gonna just do this one a little bit different. I'm basically just going to glue it on and fold it over. So who's gonna be making tulips today? Tell me that here in the comments if you're watching on Facebook, and you can tell me that also if you're watching this on YouTube. I'd love to know who is inspired, who can't believe how simple this is. Okay, so I've just glued it on, and now I'm just going to run another band of glue around the outside of this side. We'll fold it over and push it down. And this is my own way to get a covered stem, but some of the tutorials that I saw had you make a tube on your sewing machine and then turn that right side out, which is hard when it's a long skinny tube. And this is just so much easier. So I'm always looking for ways to do things that are gonna look great, but that don't require like a fancy sewing machine or major tools, or things that you can pick up at places that you're likely to go, like Walmart, Target, Hobby Lobby. And voila! There we go. Okay, let's make a couple of leaves for these two guys that I have right here. And here is my little bouquet of this color wave. I'm not going to put these pinks with this one because they're a different color of pink, but I have 2 more of them right here. So I have 4, and we could add them to these other little tulips if we wanted. I did want to show you though on this that there's one cute thing that you could do, and that is to just cut a little piece of the coordinating fabric of the other flowers and tie like a little scarf around your flower's neck. And all of them in this bundle, I put the leaves on them except for the one that has the little scarf on its neck. So there's that pretty little vignette. Okay, let's do the leaf. Let's do a couple of leaves. And I showed you this before, but let's do it again. This is just some affordable, probably very inexpensive. I may have picked this up at the Dollar Tree. I don't even remember. And I just rounded the tip of it. And I'm going to put a bead of it along the bottom half of it. And I want to put the seam at the back of the leaf. The seam on the flower bud. So see, there's the seam, and so that's where I glued it on. And then I'm just going to fold over part of the bottom. I don't want to glue it all the way up to the top because that look of those leaves where they kind of bend a little bit, that's what tulip leaves actually look like in real life. And yeah. Also, I didn't want to cover up every single bit of this adorable green fabric that we used to make our stem. So that's a little one. Let's make another one. Let's make it a little bit longer. I can only imagine how many different things that everybody watching can do. I'm super excited to see what you come up with. If this is too long, I will cut off part of the top of it. It's looking like it might be too long to me. I'm looking for the seam on our flower because I want that to be kind of covered up by the leaf. Yes, this is way too long. So let's just round it off. That's even still too long. And you know, tulips have, sometimes they have like 5 or 6 of these leaves that kind of fold around them, on them in real life. So you could do as many of those as you want. Another glue stick. Okay, so I just folded over one side. I'm going to do the other one. Needs to go a little bit further. And I still think that my leaf is too long. Let's cut it even shorter. Boy, did I really. Okay. So now we have these flowers that are in this other, whoops, that's this one. This other wave of pink. And I think they would look cute combined with these. So let's put that one in the very front. We're just going to have 2 of those in there. And there we go. I want to know what you guys think. Did you love this? I do. I think they turned out absolutely adorable. They're easy to whip them out. Like, make a whole bunch of tubes if you're going to be making this style. Make a whole bunch of tubes all at the same time, press them down, glue them shut, you know, fold over the raw seam and do all that, and then in front of the TV or just some time when you're just relaxing, then you can do that little running stitch or drawstring stitch at the bottom. Put in your little dowels, get your hot glue gun out, pull it right side out, fluff it, and then you can come back and do this little part on all of them at the same time, and you can whip these out like crazy. And I think if somebody gave me this little arrangement, or one that was maybe slightly bigger, I would absolutely love it. I would probably put something cute, a cute ribbon right here. Let's see what you guys were saying. Sylvia says they're absolutely adorable. Hey, Curvy Ladies Crafting, how are you doing? Yes, she's saying that she needs to rewatch from the beginning. And yes, you might want to do that. All my videos are going to be available in my video feed for hopefully forever. And I do try to always label them the best I can so that people can find what they want easily. So you can go back anytime you want and rewatch it, or you can put it on your Facebook page or save it to your page so that you can go back and watch it later if you want to do that as well. Anyways, okay, I have tons more craft projects coming, including we still have the beach or the sea glass projects to do. Oh, I just have, my mind is full of craft projects, if you can even imagine that. So if you want to make sure, if you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you see what I have coming up. Do a this or a this. This is just slamming that little heart thing. Or say something in the comments and make sure that you've liked and followed DiyDreaming. If you want a text alert for when I'm going live on Facebook, I will put in the comments my phone number. It's not my actual cell phone number. It's a text alert thing that I've just signed up for. And gosh, already in 2 days, there's like 150 people who've already signed up for it. So if you would like a text alert, I'm gonna always tell you when, and I'm not gonna inundate you with texts. I'm just gonna tell you about 10 minutes before I go live, 10, 15 minutes before I go live, that I'm going live. I'm gonna tell you what the project is so that you can decide if you wanna watch it. And then if there are any sales or deals happening, I'll tell you that too. And if it's your birthday, I'll wish you a happy birthday. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube and you want to make sure that you get to see the next things coming up, then just make sure that you've subscribed to my YouTube channel, easy peasy, and then make sure that you know how to look through the different playlists. And if you just want to know about flowers, you can click on the playlist of DIY flowers, and I have about, I'm not even kidding, I have at least 30, if not more, different videos that I've made in the last 3 years of flower things that you can make that are easy, quick, affordable, sometimes a little different. So those are the 2 ways to make sure that you see the projects that I do here at DiyDreaming. If you want to go back and look at any of these flower projects, they are all pretty much on my Facebook page under videos and also on YouTube under the playlist of flowers. So you can go back and watch anything that you want anytime. And if you have any questions at all, just let me know that in the comments. If you hopped on in the middle, then go back and watch from the beginning, because there's no way I can explain it in a text. And I know probably at least 20 people will have joined midstream and will say, how did you do this? Or where did you get that? And all of that is at the beginning of the video. So if you didn't see the whole thing, give me just a couple minutes to conclude this, get it saved, and then it'll be in my video feed, and you can go back and watch it from the very beginning. Okay guys, thanks so much for watching me. Thanks so much for your encouragement, for your support of DIY Dreaming. I will see you guys tomorrow for Christ and Crafting, and I hope you'll join me. Bye. Oh, and I think I cleaned up for the most part if you want to take a screenshot of anything. The only thing I don't like here is a paper plate in the background. Oh, you're so sweet, Debbie. She says you are my absolute favorite crafter. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet of you. I always wish, you know, now that I'm, I don't know what to call what stage of life I'm in, about to be an empty nester, I wish that going back in time, I could have been a teacher, because I love crafting and I love teaching. So I appreciate that. That's a sweet thing to say. And thank you. Oh my goodness, if you're watching on Facebook, thank you for all the stars. That is awesome too. Alrighty, I'll see you guys later, hopefully tomorrow, for Christ and Crafting.